over all of his laws. Now, how do I know that? There are 3 gospel accounts that tell a story about Jesus being asleep in a boat. Storm came up, and the waves were flopping over and filling up the boat, and he's laying back there asleep, and finally somebody goes back and shakes him. Lord, you're going to lay there and sleep while the storm drowns us, while we perish? Jesus' words, I'm getting so sick and tired of people have no faith. And he stood up and he said, wind, shut up! Or maybe he said it nicely, stop blowing. Doesn't matter. Either way, it works. And if you think they were scared before, you ain't seen nothing yet. They looked at each other and they said, what kind of man is this that even the winds and the waves obey his will? I call that supernatural. What do you think? Another account, 3 Gospels given. The guys were rowing, been rowing all night long, 4 o'clock in the morning. They'd gotten 3 to 3.5 miles out. And here comes Jesus walking on the water. I wouldn't advise that in deep water, folks. I don't think you're going to make it. But Jesus is over supernatural laws, and he walked on the water, and so did Peter, and we'll talk about one of these things. That's the real shocker. Another account. Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, and all of a sudden the lions aren't hungry. Oh, wow. Yeah, I believe that. What I really believe is God said, leave Daniel alone. And guess what? They left Daniel alone all night long, and the next morning he's doing just fine. But let me tell you the one that really, really drives the point home to me. It's supernatural. Lazarus had been dead how many days? 4 days. The sisters were saying, Jesus, don't roll that stone back. Man, that odor is going to be terrible. And Jesus said, move the stone. Lazarus, come forth. And what happened? Lazarus, been in the tomb 4 days, body should have been decaying, walked out with grave clothes still on. You know why Jesus said, Lazarus, come forth? If he'd have said, come forth, every cemetery in the area would have emptied. So he had to narrow it down to Lazarus, come forth. Very much alive. I call that supernatural law, supernatural one over his supernatural law. But the best one of all is found on Easter morning when Jesus is no longer dead and is very much alive. That ought to give us a faith that really knows Jesus as Lord of creation, as Lord over nature. It ought to give us a faith that sees the invisible. I cannot draw you a picture of what it's going to be like when Jesus comes back, but I guarantee I can see it. All of a sudden, one of these days, just like he ascended into heaven, he's going to descend in like manner, come back in the same way, on the clouds, with the dead in Christ. What a day it's going to be. He's coming back, and I can see it. Archangel's going to shout, trumpet's going to blow, and here they come. I think we need to start working on our faith now. What do you think?